You join me at the start of April. The clocks have now gone forward by an hour and it is now definitely tench fishing time. The brolly shelter's got up because, like all winter, it's chucking it down with rain this morning. No spring sunshine just yet, but I've come to my very favourite place to catch tench in the UK, and that's the local canals. I'll show you over the course of this video how I approach tench fishing on canals. Hopefully we'll get one or two in the net to get the season off to a good start. I'm very quickly going to get the rods out because I've not got that long today. I've only got about 3 hours or so. So less waffle, more haste. Let's get those rods in the water and I'll show you how I'm going to approach this. So here's the scene on the canal this morning then. We've got a fair bit of chop on. It's probably about 10 or 15 minutes now until sunrise. I've just spent about 10 minutes walking up and down the towpath just to get some idea of where the fish are holding up. I've seen just the one show and it happens to be on that far margin over there, so that's good enough for me. This is where I've set up. I'm going to start with a couple of static rods. Later in the spring I'll definitely be on the quiver tip and on the float, but today, just to find the tench, 2 rods, just to explore quite a wide area here. I'll probably give it about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes here. If we don't have a bite, then it'll be a quick pack down, move down the canal, try another section a bit further down. We've got a reed line on the far margin there, which is a perfect habitat for a canal tench. Got these rods out very quickly. Couple of maggot feeders. I'll show you the setup and approach in a minute, but this first light period, I really want to maximise this because there's always a good chance of picking up bites in the early light of the day. What a gorgeous scene. Start of spring on the canals. Come on those tench. So here's a look at the swim that we're starting in today. It's a relatively wide section. We've got a reed line on the far margin. Those are a couple of the aspects that I look for when I'm tench fishing. I'm going to put the left hand rod about a foot off those reeds on the far margin, and then the deepest part of the canal is always the middle third, so the right hand rod's going to go about 2/3 of the way over. It's still early spring, water temperature is quite low, so that'll give us a good chance of exploring whether the tench are tucked up against those reeds on the far margin or whether they're still sat in the deeper water. Well, it's not taking too long at all. Left hand rod just pulled up tight. Not sure what this is yet, but it's great to get a quick bite. It was bang on that spot where I saw that showing fish. I think this is a tench, you know. Well, it's going to be an amazing start if it is. It's come right into the near side margin. Yeah, definitely a tench. Go on, mate. Yes, first tench of the year. Come on. Wow, what a start that is. Well, what a start to the session that was. Bang on that spot where I saw that showing fish. It might well have been this little dude. Tench in miniature. But I don't care about that. It's the first one of the year from the UK canals. Pristine fish, barely a mark on it. Shows how healthy a lot of our canals are. What a gorgeous fish. What a great way to start the session. Well, I've got that tench resting in the net down there. Very quickly get the rod back out on the spot. Yeah, perfect. Oh, what a start that is. It's still quite fresh this morning, but I'm thrilled to have got the first tench so quickly. It just shows one of the key things canal fishing for tench. Try and get there at first light, and just to spend 10 minutes or so walking up and down the towpath just to see for any signs of fish. You know, these are wild tench. They could be anywhere along a stretch, and just to give yourself the best chance by seeing any showing fish at first light, it can really pay off and just make a big difference to your session. I'm really glad we got that bite nice and quickly. The rod's back out on the spot, so hopefully there's one or two more out there for us. So I've got a couple of Korum Allrounder 3K 11 foot 1¼ pound test curve rods on the go today. These are perfect for this situation, nice and forgiving, great for the size of tench that's in this canal here. Got those paired up with a couple of 4,000 sized Infernos reels, 6 pound feeder line, 4 pound hook lengths, size 12 hooks. I'll show you the rig in a second when I got the rod back in for the next rechuck. And as I mentioned before, in the early part of spring, when I'm searching out where these tench are holding up, I prefer to fish a couple of rods. As we get into later April and the temperature warms up and the tench become more active, then I'll move on to the float and the quiver tip at that stage. But early season, just searching out across a wide area, a couple of rods is my preferred choice. Fishing for tench on buzzers might not be for everyone or for the purists, but for the early part of the season, it's my preferred method. Feels like the rain's just starting to hold off a little bit now, which is good news. I haven't seen any more showing fish since that first show just before I set up. But we'll keep feeding these spots. Come on, those tench. So let's have a quick look at the setup I'm using today. So the bottom of most canals are generally silty. You'll have cabbage weed, detritus, just all sorts of general leaf matter that'll build up. It's quite rare you'll find a polished spot. So because of that, helicopter rig is my preferred option. So I've got my 6 pound main line straight through there. I've got one of the Korum ready Heli Kits there. Just spins nicely around the main line. Little short 4-inch hook length, size 12 hook. Couple of fake maggots and a couple of real maggots. Now I do that to just ensure that if any small silvers or skimmers come in and just clean the maggots off the hook, I'm still fishing with a couple of fake maggots there. Just make sure that in early spring, when I am taking a maggot only approach, that I'm always fishing at all times. Got one of the Korum Combi Feeders here, 1.5 ounce, 45 gram, whatever your language is. These are dead easy to use. You just pop the end caps out and you can fish it there with ground bait or end caps back in. Fish it as a maggot feeder. I'm all fingers and thumbs here, but there we go. So slow release maggot feeder, and then just up the main line, I've got an Olivet there in between a couple of float stops just to pin everything down on the deck. Well, the right hand rod is pulled up tight. This feels like a slightly better fish. Yeah, this looks a better size tench. In the net. Yes. Brilliant. So here's the next one. Definitely a bit bigger, 3.5 pound. Immaculate condition. These wild tench are absolutely thriving in this canal. And to drop on a couple of these first session, it's way more than I could have hoped for. I've got a 1 inch hook length, 4 inch hook length, 4 pound hook length, 6 pound feeder line, 4 pound hook length, 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 4 pound hook leng What a terrific first hour or so this has been. So this rod's ready to go back out again now. There's the feeder loaded full of red maggot. Couple of red maggots on the hook there alongside those two fakes. Simple tactics. I do bring corn and pellet to the bank with me just in case the silvers and skimmers become a problem, but that's not the case so far today. Let's get this rod back out. Whilst we're waiting for the next bit of action on the rods, the big question, of course, with canal tench fishing is, how do I find the fish? And quite simply, there's no easy answer to that. You've got to put the effort in firstly, get up and down the towpaths in your local area, find the likely looking spots. What I look for are wider sections of canal where the pace of the flow is a little bit slower. Definitely try and stay away from locks. You don't want any tow in the water. I like it nice and still where I can. Like what we've got on the far margin there, we've got a reed line. Any section that's got reeds, bulrushes, overhanging bushes, trees, just anything that provides cover. That's natural habitat for tench, so they'll be drawn into those areas. I'm also looking for sections that have got minimal boat traffic as well, where the water clarity is nice and clear. Once you get later into spring and you can see the bottom, areas that have got good growth of cabbage weeds, those are just likely areas where tench are going to be hanging out. Sections of canal where you've got straight sections with metal shuttering on both sides, they're just not going to be the ones. Try and always find bushes, features, rushes, just anywhere where there's going to be some cover. That's a good place to start. But you just got to get yourself active on the bank, just put the yards in, try loads of different spots, and if you put the effort in, then gradually, over time, you'll definitely get the rewards. Well, right hand rod has tore off again. There we go, third one of the session. Back £3 as well, not huge, but very, very welcome. It's turned out to be a brilliant session. Definitely the key to this was getting here at first light. All it took was that single show, and we've dropped on a nice shoal with these tench. Let's get this one rested up, back in, get the rod back out, and who knows, there might be another one out there for us just yet. Well, it's safe to say this has exceeded expectations so far. Coming to the canal this morning, it was just about getting the first bite, and to have caught 3 tench in about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, something like that is well past what I could have dreamt of. I'm going to stick to the tactics. Feed in regularly, recast every 10 minutes or so. I've got bites coming off both rods, so there's some fish up against the reed line, there's fish in the deeper water, so we'll keep feeding both spots. As you can see behind me here, this reed line goes down the canal for a good half a mile, something like that, so these tench could quite easily drift off. So keeping the feed going in is key to hold them on the spot, to give yourself the chance to keep picking up regular bites. Another tench on. It's darting around a little bit, so it's probably only a small one, but start of the season, it's just good to get a few bites. Yeah, small tench. Yes, go on. Well, look at that. Pair of tench in the net. A couple of quick bites. Great little session this on the canal. Just to start the season off really well. Let's get these back in the edge, rested up. Get that rod back out. Sod's law, isn't it, that as soon as the sun comes out, unfortunately, I've got to pack up and get out of here. But that session this morning has exceeded my expectations. That was way more than I could have wished for at the start of the day. Some cracking tench there on the canal to start the season off. I will be back for another session later in the spring. If you've enjoyed that video, please give it a like, and if you want to see a bit more of that content, then please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to, of course. You can also find me on Facebook under Rob's Angling. Please send me a message there if there's anything you'd like to ask. Good luck with your own fishing this spring. I'll be doing a little bit more tench fishing myself on some of the still waters that are around and about close by to me. There's some bigger fish in there than generally you get with these wild tench in canals, but yeah, lots more content to come. Thanks very much for watching. Good luck with your own fishing, and I'll see you all again soon.